I know it's a surprise. I know, out of nowhere. I'm gonna give y'all like 2 seconds, then I'm gonna go ahead and get into what I gotta get into. I gotta cook. All right, let's get into it. I know a lot of y'all are wondering where you been, where you been, where you been. I'm gonna get into that right before I get into the video. Um, I had to make sure the channel was up to speed with what they needed me to do because I was up for review for the partnership program again. So I ain't want to add too much to it. And then I also fell down this rabbit hole where I was looking at where YouTube was going and the value of the titles and the algorithm and all this other stuff. And I just got into studying how to make this product better. But yeah, I've been watching the games. I've been keeping my eye on the games. I've been paying attention to what's going on. But it's just at this point of the journey, it's just repetitive. Like right now, we're just in this phase of figuring everything out, giving ourselves the best chance to win. Last night was another conversation piece. We're putting ourselves in position to win every game. We're giving ourselves an opportunity. We're ahead of the curve as far as what the expectations were at this point. But now it's like, how do you tame what you want them to be versus what they really are? Because it's definitely exciting to watch. But it's just one of those things where it's like we're that close yet so far at the same time. So you're really caught in this confusing space. And I ain't want to just keep saying the same old thing. You know what I mean? I ain't want to keep saying the same old shit. Good work. Nice try. We're getting closer. We all know this. It's just the part. This is where we are. So I was like, you know what? Let me just focus on with the direction of YouTube and figure out where the hell that shit is going and how I can get where everything is going as far as the future is concerned. And what I found out was they doing all the old stuff I was doing 8 years ago. Everybody's doing the stuff I was doing 5, 6, 7 years ago is what everybody's doing now. Remixing people's content, remixing people's titles. So I'm like, you know what? I know exactly what I need to do. So I had to create a new perspective, like how to see things and how to articulate what I see, because I see a lot of people sounding like what I used to sound like. So I'm looking at the Raptors and I'm like, I can't say what I've been saying because it'll become redundant and boring. So it's like, you know what? Let me regroup and figure this out and study the game. And that's exactly where I've been the last couple of days. You know what I mean? I didn't want to drop too much because I didn't know what the partnership program was going to accept. That's why I didn't drop, and that's why I was erasing a lot of content also, because I got with somebody on Twitter, one of the guys that worked for YouTube, and he was just explaining to me what the issue was. Like certain apps you can't use. Like when editing your work, you can't use certain apps because Google now owns it. They're not accepting every random app that enables you to edit your work. You know what I mean? They won't count it, and also they want you to do a little bit more than just pictures and conversation, which is easy for me to do. And I still see people doing it, but it is what it is. But now that I had to, get in front of the camera ish, now it's just, I got to get used to that and still bring the same energy and get into that groove again. It's just, y'all don't know. This is definitely weird for me. I hate being in front of the camera. Like, I don't like this at all. I'd rather talk and keep it moving. You know what I mean? But my light bulb died. Not so much died, but the battery in the remote died. So it's like I can't get my lights today. And I'm like, you know what? I got to do something. I'm not going to just not have a day where I'm not doing anything. So, you know what I mean? I was just chilling, studying, mapping out the next move. But I've been paying attention to the games, and it's just the same. We're just in this space, and we got to work our way out of it. It's exciting, and it's confusing. Because the reality is we're playing so good, but we have so many more people to add to the equation that it may complicate things. We know how it works. Like I said in my last video, we know how it works when RJ is the key guy and everything is flowing through him. It looks different. It flows different. It flows different with Scotty. It flows different with Emmanuel quickly. Scotty is the best facilitator. We all get it. But is that the best option for everything to roll offensively? Because we're seeing the numbers RJ is accumulating and how close we are to winning with those numbers. Scotty can be the main facilitator, but he'll have to feed RJ. And then Emmanuel quickly, he's more like I hate to say it, but once he gets going, he's one track minded. Like he's looking to get his offense going, which takes us away from what we're trying to do as a team at times. Which is why I said in the last video, we need to run the offense a little bit more through RJ because he's a little more diplomatic when it comes to, dishing out the rock and scoring and rebounding and defending. It actually feeds his game the more possessions that he has, the more touches that he gets. But we understand the importance of Scotty and what Scotty does. It is his team, and he should be running the offense more often than not. But we understand how productive it is when RJ does it, and how different it is when Emmanuel is doing what he's doing, because he tends to look out for himself a little more, and people are left standing there watching him use his speed to create opportunities for himself. And then they have to be efficient. We don't necessarily have to be efficient when RJ is flowing through RJ. We just gonna beat the shit out you. We just gonna apply pressure. And it's going, like last night, we watched the Celtics shoot 61 threes. They shot 61 of the 99 shots, they shot 61 threes. And it didn't make that much of a difference. Because we had them in a headlock. We had 76 points in the paint, and we attacked, and we had a certain demeanor. And I like it. I'm not going to lie to you. I like it when the offense flows through RJ at times. More often than not. It makes sense. It gives us more options. And there's a tempo and a melody and an attitude to it that we need from bookend to bookend. And we got to figure out how to get the perfect amalgamation of everybody's game involved. Because if you have a point guard who relies on his speed to score, he's going to run away with it. I can tell you that for fucking experience. But at the end of the day, you got to feed everybody. So he has to find some type of middle ground where he can get his and everybody gets theirs, similar to how when RJ is running things. We already know how everything is when Scotty runs it. Everybody gets a big opportunity to be a part of the offense as well. But last night was a masterpiece of a game. It came down to one shot in OT. And shout out to Jason Tatum, he hit the shot. He bricked the first one. Like that's, for a lot of y'all, that shit ain't easy to do. It ain't easy to brick one and then take the same shot again and then everything go right. Very hard. You know what I mean? He got the shot off. He made the shot. We defended a lot of those threes all game. We made mistakes, but we defended. They hit a lot of tough shots. We made them work for it. And that's all I can ask. You know what I mean? And that's where we've been the last, 3-4 weeks. We've been making teams. If we win those close games, if we win half of those close games, we're at 500 or close to it, and we're in the mix. The East is shitty right now. Like, literally, we're in last place right now. Like, real talk. We're in last place, and we're like 4.5 games out of sixth place, 5 games out of like fifth, and we're in last place. That's how shitty the records are in the Eastern Conference. That's how crazy it is right now. Like, we're in dead last, but we're 4.5 games out of 6, which is the playoff spot, and 5 games out of 5th, which is crazy, but that's deceptive. You know what I mean? We're that close yet so far. You know what I mean? And we don't know how, like, things move a certain way, and then you add Scotty's going to come back. It's going to look a little different, because when Scotty came back the first time, RJ took a seat back. And then he had to gear back up when Scotty got hurt to get back in the space. Now that after last night, it's like the 25, 15, and 10. Like, we got to discuss some type of fucking, it has to be split. It got to be split. Or it has to be regulated to the point where we run the first quarter through this one, the second quarter through that one, the third quarter through the other one, and then in the fourth, whoever got it going the most, they'll play off of each other. Because we definitely need all three. And I'm not going to toot my horn about Jakob Poeltl either. Because for the past few months, people been talking reckless about that contract. And I've been hyped off of having this guy on this team since we were even conversating about getting him. I like his game. It's fundamentally sound. And I'm telling you right now, if you can give me that Tim Duncan shit, I ain't gonna even hold you. If I can get that Tim Duncan shit every now and then, I'm happy. I'll take that. You know what I mean? It's not much we could. What are you asking for? Like everybody's not an all-star in the NBA. There's a reason why it's only like 24 dudes and 24 all NBA. It's not a lot of guys that are really nice like that. We can't just start grading on the curve because an 85 is an A now in school, which is ridiculous. A 44 is a C. Like the whole game is nasty. But we have to understand the academics and athletics has to remain. That standard has to stay the same. We have to keep the standard. We cannot lower the standard of what we expect players to be. But if players, everybody's not an all-star. We got to accept guys for who they are. There's going to be a lot of role players. And some guys are really good at being role players. Jakob Poeltl is an incredible role player. He had 2 incredible nights back to back. I wanted to talk about the first night so bad, but I wanted to see what he did against the Celtics. That 28 and 15 against Detroit, I was like, ooh. And then he has 35 and 12. That floater is money. So we can't say, like, that's 80. That's a good, that investment is a magnificent one. Like, we can't even just deny it at this point. It's paying off in big time dividends. The return is incredible. But now we still got to figure out how we can get these wins. Like, we're getting close. But then it's like, how do we close out these games? Who plays what factor? Like, how do we divide it up? How does it work itself out? That's where my curiosity lies. Like, how it all works itself out. Because it could work itself out, but I'm not playing. I'm watching. We played, mind you, we went up against this Celtics team without Quickly or Scotty. And we went into overtime and they came down to one shot and they shot 61. They wanted it to be a shootout so bad, and we would not allow it. I was with accept the shit. Fuck it. They want to shoot it out. Let's go. But we found a way. We found a weakness. Listen. Last night opened my eyes to a lot of possibilities, but it's like when you have too many possibilities, you really got to trim the fat and figure out what actually works. Now, what does the system look like where everything can make sense and everybody's happy? Because players are temperamental. When they're not being used as much as they want, it'll become an issue. Especially if another guy is benefiting from this system. Systematically, it looks like RJ is benefiting more than anybody. Jakob Poeltl is benefiting more than anybody. Ochai Agbaji is starting to gain ground, and Grady Dick is having incredible moments. It's going to be a lot of interesting conversations coming up. It's going to be a lot of interesting conversations coming up because the conventional thing to do would be we run it through Scotty, and then we figure it all out as we go through that. But if in this system RJ is really in a good space and we're feeding off of that, how do you deny it? But also and get Scotty to understand that you might have to play off of him at times a little more than you expect. It is your team, but this shit is working like this better than we thought. He's getting an opportunity to really show all the different facets of his game. Like, how do they play off of each other? It's interesting. You know what I mean? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of interesting conversations. And I'm not saying get rid of Scotty. That's crazy. But I am saying, how do you figure out the perfect give and take between what works and what we want to work? We would love for it to be working through Scotty the way it works through RJ. That's what we was hoping for. But it just so happens it works better through RJ. Now, from an ego standpoint, how would Scotty and Emmanuel quickly accept it? Because the team feeds off of RJ differently. Let's not play games. Let's address that elephant in the room. They play different. They play a more inspired brand of basketball when they're playing off of RJ. For some reason, don't ask. And I noticed that early. But we need everybody. Everybody has a space on this team. Last night, we didn't go up against no light ass opponent. This was a back-to-back game against Boston. That's a rivalry game. We don't like them. They don't like us. And they won the chip. Utilizing the style. And it wasn't as potent as it used to be last night with a depleted roster. That equation within itself is hard to figure out because there's too many variables that you could plug in and say if this, if that. But the reality is what we had looked like more than enough to beat Boston in Boston doing what Boston does best, which is we're putting everybody's backs up against the wall and we're not being able to seal a deal. That's a great problem to have. That's a ridiculously, all you need to do is gain experience, but you're so close to winning that you really just want to grab the brass ring once in a blue moon. Like it's just one of those things where it's like, how do we get over the hump? Because there's like everybody has a hump to get over. Don't get it fucked up. Every team in the NBA has a hump to get over. Some guys, they don't see their hump until the end of the season. Like the Cavaliers, the Sixers, the Bucks. If they don't get over their hump at the end of the season, the Pacers are included in that, Orlando as well. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a lot of interesting conversations. A lot of interesting conversations. But I'm telling you right now, Giannis is not going to stay with a loser. He is not going to associate himself with losing. And he's not going to take accountability or responsibility for any of that shit. He's going to be on the move. Dame is going to be on the move. There's going to be a few guys. There's going to be some interesting conversations if they don't get over that hump. Right now, our hump is how do we get these games sealed at the end? We're giving ourselves the best, and we're learning. One thing I noticed that I did that bothered me, that I'm glad we were able to take care of. We would have to fight to get back in within the fight for the game. Like nobody wants to fight after the other team has control over the game, because now you got two fights. You got to fight to get back in the game and fight for control of the game. I like the fact that we're fighting for control over the game instantaneously. We're not waiting for them to settle in and start coming off the momentum. We're going at them while they still have momentum. We're cutting that shit short trying to do what we got to do. We're just close. Like it's hard not to love what you see, because this team is definitely too exciting not to watch. But also, you're looking at the record, you're like, yo, even we're in last, but we're 4.5 out of 6th and 5 games out of 5th. And it's like, we could get a streak going, but I'm not gonna even lie to y'all. The motherfuckers that be tanking, yo, they get to me. Like they be like, yo, we should just start right now. Like they hit me in the comment section. They be like, you know what? This is the perfect time to start competitively tanking. Even though that's my phrase. But it's like, y'all make a lot of sense. But I shake it off. I'm like, nah, ain't no way. No, we can't competitively tank. It's too much. It's like 69 games left. No. But then it's like, you want to do it. Like they just hit me in the comment section. You want to tank. We can get Cooper Flag. I'm like, nah, we ain't gonna get him. Because it's already written where he's gonna go. Don't be surprised if he doesn't end up in Charlotte. He can end up in Charlotte. Like him and Melo would be cash money. That would be a lot. That would be the $1 billion baby that Charlotte needs. Because there's no other place for, like, we know what the game is. Like, we're not gonna make it seem like it's just this thing that they allow to happen organically. It's too much money at stake. It's big business. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't just not acknowledge the big business end of it. But I'll tell you this much. Listen, we cannot afford to discontinue making progress. Like, the losses don't define us. The position we're in doesn't define us. And as long as we keep working, despite, continuously saying this, that's the only thing we can hang our hat on is these performances and applying this pressure. Because the NBA is changing just like we all knew it would years ago. It's changing. It's evolving. LeBron got to go. Everybody's getting in their mode of this is the last hurrah for a lot of them. They sticking around because it's $50 million a year guaranteed for a lot of them. And I wouldn't be able to walk away from that either. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be able to walk away from 40 million, 30 million a year after doing all the heavy lifting early in my career. So, of course, they're going to stick around and get a couple more bags. But at some point, they got to go. and then we'll be right in position. But we got to figure out how this thing is going to work, and how guys got to. There's a lot of ego that needs to be that's going to be checked, and a lot of looking in the mirror, understanding what works best for the team. That's what it's about. Like this is where you test guys to see if it's really about the team. You know what I mean? The team. What works best for the team? What works best for you is it runs through you and you're the hero, and it looks like you're the reason for the success. Big part. But what if you got to chop that fraction down? You're not as big a part of the success as you would like to be. Instead of you being 75% a part of the success, let's say you're about 40, 30%. And on average, you're about 35 and y'all all divided. Would you be able, like, that's going to be very important. Will they be able to allow it to be as it should be, as it's working? It's about how it works. We're figuring out what works. If it looks better and works better through running through RJ, we got to cater to that. We got to consider it. And everybody might have to play off of that until there's other options that evolve or showcase themselves. Right now, none of us thought it would, like, we thought he would be the best co-star. But it just so happens he's looking like the lead. He's stealing scenes. You know what I mean? It's just a reality. That's how it goes. Some actors just come in and steal scenes. And it's becoming more and more apparent. And it looked easy too. It didn't look like it was work. I've been realizing that he's been reading the defense really well and picking spots. When he has the green light to do what he does and really have his hands on the offense a lot more, it looks smoother. And guys look more excited because they know it's not a, I don't know. It looks like they have a different relationship off the court that leads to how it looks on the court. You know what I mean? You don't get to that type of utopia on the court without there being some type of relationship and understanding off the court. You know what I mean? But listen, there's going to be some interesting conversations coming down the pipeline. It ain't going to be like what we thought it was going to be. And like I said, I would love for everything to flow through Scotty, RJ be the number 2, Emmanuel quickly be the number 3, but that's not how it's working. RJ is looking like he should have his hands more so on the ball. And everybody should play around that and everything evolve around that. I'm not against that being a possibility. Last night we've been in some joints, man. We've been in some joints. It came down to him. He missed 3 game-winning shots. I know y'all was highly upset about that shit. But that's part of the hustle. It happens. But we're in that position in the first place. You look at our record, you're expecting it to be a walk in the park. It's never a walk in the park. You got problems. And teams are realizing it's work. More work than that schedule would indicate. More work than that fucking record indicates. Where our placing, our positioning now, it's straight smoke. You got to do something. We figuring out how to win the first quarter or keep it competitive, not let you run around with that. Listen, these motherfuckers took 61 threes. They're volume shooting threes. 61 or 90, and we woke their asses down without 2 key pieces. And we've been in a lot of these games where it was just, and he's not 100%. RJ's not 100%, real talk. We know that. He's not 100%. This is what we're getting, and he still has a bad shoulder. This is what we're getting. He's giving us everything. Like, there's going to be some interesting conversation. It's not about the changing of the guard. It's like we're going to have to add more on to that plate because Listen, it's working over there. It's working. I'm all about what works. If that's what's working, then that's what's working. When we had Fred at point, but it worked better with Scotty running the offense and pushing the agenda and pushing the flow and pushing in transition, we were with what works. And we saw that early. Now we're seeing that with the new coach and the new system. Now within that system, RJ looks really good in it when things are kind of flowing his way and through him a little bit more. Just saying. Just saying. I don't know, man. Like it's how often, like that's one of the things I didn't want to do while I was sitting out and really looking at where YouTube is going and study. Like I'm out here studying hours and hours of videos on the fucking algorithm and all this other stuff. And I'm seeing like, yo, they writing scripts and they're literally having AI critique it so it can be at a 5th grade reading level on purpose. Like it's just wild. The tricks and the trick, like the crazy stuff they doing is crazy just to get people's attention. I'm like, that's crazy. They're dumbing down the work, they're watering, and I didn't want to. So I'm like, I got to figure how I could deliver it my way, but without sounding like everybody else. Because it's like I see so much of what I've been doing in other people, and it's like, here go Cam and Mace. Like, they saying shit I would say. You got Gil, he's saying shit I've been saying. Like, and it's like I don't want to. I got to switch it up. It's like we all came out with the same pair of sneakers. I'm just gonna go upstairs and take mine off and put on something else. So that's where I've been. But I've been watching these games. I definitely been watching these games and paying attention to what's going on. Coming in, like working 8 days straight, working 5 days straight, working 6 days straight, coming in straight tired. And it's like, I got to create something where even if I'm tired, it's potent. So that's all I've been doing while I've been gone. Last night we had many nights like last night as far as basketball is concerned. So I didn't feel like saying the same old thing throughout the whole video. You know what I mean? Just completely just talking about the same topic in the same way because we know the potential of the team. We know the potential of the players. I had to figure out a new perspective. And that's what I was able to do. You know what I mean? And that's why I've been gone. It's only been like 5 days, but I definitely had to clean the channel up to get back in the partnership program because I didn't want it to be an issue again. But the team is, Jakob Poeltl is an incredible surprise. Sixth in rebounding. Like y'all always talk about. I can't wait to do my Jakob Poeltl video. Like I'm not gonna go live when I talk about Yak. I'm going all the way in. But he's everything I wanted him to be. Not too much, but just enough to be a monster for these teams. He's a problem. You know what I mean? And that floater is woo. It's come a long way. It's almost like that. And I'm not saying it's like it's not like, that hook shot of Kareem's, but it's looking like automatic. It's looking like you can go to the ATM and pull out $20. It's looking like, you know what I mean? You can go pull out $20 whenever you get the rock. But yeah, I miss not being able to talk the way I want to talk, but it's like I've been walking on eggshells. It's been a rough year. It's been an interesting, rough year. I don't really talk about it, but it's been definitely interesting year for me. And my light is gone. I like it better when I have my lights. I gotta either get a new light bulb or get a new new fucking battery for the light I got. But it is what it is, man. I missed y'all though. I ain't gonna even lie. Like I miss being able to rap with y'all, and it's hard to do everything like read the damn text on read all the comments on the phone. It was better when I had, StreamYard. I could see everything. This, I'm like, I'm telling y'all right now, I am not putting on my glasses. I'm not going to y'all are not going to catch me pulling out my glasses and be like, highlighting comments. I can't see. It's just written small, man. Y'all are killing. I'm glancing at it now like, nope. It's written too small. I gotta catch it later. But yeah, man, I just wanted to touch base with y'all. I ain't go nowhere. I know some people were asking, we not winning. You disappearing. Nah, that's not it. It's just we all understand why we're losing. We have to gain experience. We have to learn how to win. This is the process. You let them go through the process. You let the players evolve. You let the coaches evolve, and stay out the way. You don't want. You know what it is. A lot of times you don't want to prematurely say anything because you have to allow a certain amount of time to manifest before you say anything. You know what I mean? You can't just prematurely shoot your load and then it's like, yo, you was wrong, nigga. You don't know what the fuck you talking. You know what you're saying. See what happened? We turned it around. Nah, we gotta wait to a certain point. Then it's like, yeah, this is a consistent theme. And we talk about the consistencies. But I'm not with the tanking, man. I don't want to tank at all. But we're all with like we're in this space where it's almost too good to be true. Like being 4.5 games out of 6 is like we go on a win streak. See what I'm saying? It starts with that. We go on a win streak, and then it's like, oh damn. Then it's actually harder to execute than to fantasize about. You know what I mean? I don't want to get caught up in, you know, it's easy to fantasize about something. It's harder to make it a reality. So, and I want to give these guys a opportunity to really mature. You know what I mean? Certain players should be further along, but what are we going to do? You accept them for what they are, and we keep it moving. You know what I mean? We got the team we got, which is dope. You know what I mean? We got the players we got, and we got some interesting things to talk about. Listen, listen. Are they gonna let RJ continue to be RJ? Are they gonna let him? Like it's working that way. Maybe let's see. I think they should allow everybody. All right, when Scotty comes back and Emmanuel quickly comes back, let's see. Let them all play off of him and see what happens. See how everything falls into line. See how everything lines up. Let's see. If there's friction, then you start to tweak it and fix it up. But if everybody falls in line, it's like, all right, keep working. As long as it's working, I don't care who the face of the team is. I don't care how it works. Long as it's working. Long as we working, long as we're winning, long as like, who would have ever thought with our record and with everything being so new and everything being so young and having all these players that we have who have very little NBA experience, that we would be this competitive and exciting to watch. And in the mix of every game damn near that we played, you can't name but maybe 2 or 3 games where it was just clear that it was over. And even then we fought back. But now we're learning how to fight. And we're taking pride in fighting for control of the game. But you don't want to get caught up in, like I said, the love of, like, the fact that we love this team and we get caught up in the fantasy of what if and what it could be, if this and if that. The reality is 4.5 games might as well be 10 games because everything has to work out perfectly in an imperfect environment with a young team. A lot would have to happen. It's possible. It's definitely possible for us to really get back into space. But then it's like we all have this personal standard. We go anything less than being 500 is like is disgusting, really. It's frustrating. But even being under 500, we would still be in the mix. So you kind of take in the bitter with the sweet. You know what I mean? But it's definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting. It's interesting. Like you can't take your eyes off of it because you really don't know what the ending is going to be. It could turn out to be a playoff situation and we'd be like, damn, that was, or it can't. And we would accept it and understand it because there's reasons for that as well. But it's like the back and forth, the tug of war is tough emotionally and psychologically. Because it's like we're right there. And I wasn't even expecting us to be right there. Like if you ask me, I wasn't expecting us to be this close in all these games. And it ain't even like, it's just truly competing. Like you see teams working. It ain't no we take it easy and then we'll let you come back. Nah, it's like they're working. And they're working for 48, Their starters are playing more, and guys are hitting tough shots with. And this is the beginning. It's only 14 games in. We still got 68 more games to go. We know a lot of these teams are going to fall apart. We know a lot of the Eastern Conference is going to get serious after All-Star break, and starters are going to be playing a lot of games, with the exception of Joel Embiid, who's not going to be playing back-to-backs. But everybody is going to be playing. Games are going to be more serious. We're already in that space. And they're in that space where they got to take things a little more serious. They need to beat us. They need to win, and we need to win. That's the best situation to be in, when we both genuinely need to win. It ain't no, they got a cushion. Nobody really has a cushion in the Eastern Conference, except for like the top two teams. And the Cavs don't count. I know a lot of y'all like, what about the Cavs? They don't count. They always, the past few years, they always had a good start. How they finish? Dog shit. Like, they don't finish strong. How they finish in the playoffs is what defines them. Same thing with the Bucks and the Sixers and the Knicks and the Pacers. The playoffs is what defines them. How they position themselves, for conversation's sake. Their positioning and dominance during the regular season just makes the conversation sweeter on the back end. The Knicks, regardless of their record, are the scariest team to be up against. You don't want to see them in the first, second, or the fucking Eastern Conference Finals. You don't. As much as everybody's saying they're not the best team in the East. All right, well, tell that so-called best team in the East they got to play against the Knicks, and they got 7 games, and 3 of those games is in the Garden. And look at their facial expression after that. Or they got to go to Indiana, and 3 of those games are in Indiana. See what happens. It can get ugly. It could definitely your whole future change. You did all that regular season shit for nothing. That's a fact. Did all that for nothing. But right now, like, we just got to get over this hump. I can't wait for us to get over this hump, because we got another one. We got so many mountains to climb. This little hump is a big one, though. Like, getting over closing out these games, even though it takes, more veteran leadership, that experience. You know what I mean? What if Pascal was still around? There's a lot of points of reference and conversation. You know what I mean? That's a veteran that we could have used down the stretch. You know what I mean? But we see. You know what I mean? We got to figure it out. And what's going on with the old heads that we got still on the team that ain't really playing? They're supposed to be the voice of reason and helping young guys get through these tough times. Like, you see the young boys figuring it out. We gave up a roster spot for you know who. And it's like, yo, fam. Listen. Like, what is he taught? Like, we just need to get this information through, and a lot more experience in these moments. That's all. And they'll be fine. But it's like, you got to go through it in order to get the experience. You got to go through the losses. Learn what not to do. It's hard to watch, but we accept it. You know what I mean? The games are exciting. We're in them. We're right where we need to be, but it's just a matter of, getting over this hump. I think once we learn how to finish games, we're still going to have other things we're going to have to learn. You know what I mean? It's not going to discontinue the learning process. We still got a ways to go. So it's like, take it one step at a time. But I don't listen. If I see the same thing game to game, I'm not gonna keep talking about the same shit. We're gonna figure something out. Because I know y'all want the content, but I don't want to keep saying the same thing over and over again about the same situation when we just simply have to get over this hump. But we're looking better than expected, though. You know what I mean? Looking better. I'm looking forward to seeing what the comments are. But I'm gonna holler at y'all. I gotta start cooking before I go to work. You know what I mean? I just wanted to touch base. I ain't forget. Listen. And also, I got another channel I'm starting, and a couple of other options and opportunities to do some other shit. But this is a priority. You know what I mean? None of that other stuff would be possible if it wasn't for this. So it's like, I wanted to make sure my work and what I was evolving into really expressed itself when I talk about the Raptors and put content on this channel. I changed up everything, like how like how I put the work to how I write the scripts, the whole nine. Everything is on a whole nother level. But I had to take a couple days out to get this. I was taking in so much information. That sounds crazy, don't it? But you know I'm not saying it. I just say pause. We don't say the other shit no more. That's still listen. I'm sorry everybody. It's my man 50 grand. I'm not going. What he do outside of music is his business. That music was the soundtrack to my life while I was young adult. We about the same age, but I needed them songs. I needed that music. I needed those. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. They got to figure that out though. If he's wrong, he's wrong. He got to pay for it. But outside of the music, that ain't my business. Anything outside the music ain't my business. But everything I'm doing now is just as far as the presentation and putting together the information is just different. And I needed that time out to really change everything. Because I can't just sit down in front of a mic and plug in and then disappear again. So it's like, it is what it is. I got to get in front of the camera. Y'all don't understand. This takes some getting used to. A whole lot. A whole lot. But it is what it is. But like I said, I gotta get to work. I gotta go ahead and start cooking this food. I gotta be to work in a couple of hours, but I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna holler at y'all though. There will be videos coming up on a regular basis. There will be a consistent beat of information and moments. I just need a second to regroup and get this thing back to where I'm. It's a lot of names that sound like me though. It's a lot of. I know they be, and I know they still, they steal from smaller channels all the time. The energy, the vibe. If niggas started using lights now differently. Like I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, now it wasn't like that before. Even for me, the reason why I use lights is because of the opening scene in Belly. That's why I use the lights, because it puts me in that mode. However, do you want me type shit? The opening scene of Belly. But it's like everybody else, I don't know what their motivation is. I'm just noticing. I'm noticing. But I'm gonna holler at y'all, man. There will be a Jakob Poeltl video later though, definitely. And then the rest, I'll get back to work doing what I normally do. But I definitely need a couple of days off to study and get this thing in a better place. Because I did not want to keep doing it the way I was doing it because I can't. So shout out to Change. I'm gonna holler at y'all. Peace.